Now let me discuss the nonsensical nature of evolutionary theory. The whole evolutionary model of life development. I want to first of all say big ups to GodandScience.org, which helped me get this chart off one of their pages. But it had an interesting page on the implications of evolutionary principles on morality. And it breaks down the evolutionary principle into 3 parts, and it gives implications as well. Part 1 of the evolutionary principle is evolution is the result of random events, genetic mutations, permanent structural alterations in DNA, consisting of either substitutions, insertions, or deletions of nucleotide bases. Mutations, deletions, duplications, etc. Okay. That are acted upon through the process of natural selection. Now, the second principle it lists is the ultimate goal of evolution, of every species in evolutionary theory, is to reproduce successfully through continued evolution and adaptation to their environment. So 3, humans are a collection of chemicals fashioned and controlled by genes, and morality is an illusion. So the implications of these principles are the origin of humans is a random, unplanned event of nature that serves no purpose other than to fill a niche in the ecological scheme. Therefore, the human species is not any more valuable ecologically than any other species on the earth. Think about that for a minute. I will let you ponder the thought. But besides that, another implication is men and women fulfill their evolutionary goals best by producing as many copies of their genes as possible that survive to reproduce. Ultimately, the only thing that really matters is passing on one's genes. These ideas gave rise to the modern eugenics movement, and there are no hard and fast moral laws. Any behavior that fosters the survival and reproduction of that species is acceptable. So ultimately, understand the only important behavioral law then is survival of the fittest. The implication is the individuals with the best genetic makeup is evolutionarily selected. It says this even includes a moral act such as rape. Hey, it's a way to pass on your genes, unfortunately. So let's think about that for a minute. If you're to say that human beings, and this includes everything that the Christians calls the soul, our capacity for knowledge, for will, for consciousness, or conscience and self-consciousness, all these things, according to the evolutionists, are just biochemical processes, genetic processes that are happening. That's all we are. So let's think about that. If they say that all we are chemicals and genetic processes that are made to reproduce, to make more copies of our genes to survive, how do you explain homosexuals? Did you ever think about that? The homosexual institution does not account for being able to reproduce. A man can't get it on with a man and make a baby. A woman can't get it on with a woman and produce a child. But you're saying, you evolutionists are saying, that everything that person is and who they are was produced by these genes and these chemicals. So you're saying ultimately that the genetics, the genes of a person conspired to make them fill the evolutionary goal. So evolutionary theory is no less than partially suicidal to any logical person that's listening to this. Well, you might say a homosexual could a homosexual could go and go to the sperm bank and get artificially inseminated or something like that. But who told the genes that there was such things as a sperm bank? Do genes have a mind? Is that what you're saying? Or is that the genetic or biochemical processes admitting that they made a mistake in their scheme of things? So it's an act to correct itself. If you are you listening, Bionic Dance? Are you listening? What is it? Rabbit, lesbian atheist of doom. Evolutionary theory is saying that your homosexuality does not fit in. But you will defend evolution and natural selection, a system of science that has denounced you. Listen, if you're saying that the biochemical processes and your genes made you who you are, which is to say that they made you homosexual, then they made you not to pass on your genes in the way that you naturally are. Therefore, you're saying that evolution wanted you to destroy yourself through not reproducing. You're saying that evolution predestined you to die after you, to have no life after yourself. Does evolutionary theory love you? Do your genes love you? Sounds like cold, death, destructiveness. I wonder why. I thought, in contrast, when you talk about Jesus, I thought he said he came that his sheep might have life and have it more abundantly. The atheists like to grandstand about Big Bang and like to grandstand about evolution, natural selection, and all these different things. And they particularly get mad about the idea of predestination in biblical terms, but at least God left room for free will. You're saying that your genes predestine you in a way, particularly if you're homosexual, your genes predestine you against the goal of evolution. So your genes wanted you to die and have no more you after you. That's what you're saying if you're going to hold to this theory. But this doesn't just affect homosexuals. This same line of thought would apply to heterosexual people who have the desire in them not to have children. For example, people who are eunuchs or people who are just career-oriented or whatever and don't want to make time to have a family. But if you're one of those people and subscribe to evolutionary theory, and you're saying that will, like this guy named Suzuki Das, that's D-A-S, on YouTube, he posted a video saying free will is an illusion. If free will is illusion and everything, including your will, once again, is part of the biochemical process and production or outworking of your genes and its processing, then think about that. It's saying that your genes, your biochemical processes, when you decided to stay single or you decided not to have children, just because you didn't want your own offspring, your genes made you like that. Made you want to not have children, not want to have life of your own, but yet the evolutionary model says that you're supposed to, your goal is to pass on your genes. Your goal is to reproduce. Do I see two faces or hear two tongues? Could it be that evolutionary theory is showing itself to be what it is? The product of Satan, who is a two-faced liar and has been from the beginning, the enemy of God's truth. Satan can't produce or can't create anything of his own, so he does. He takes the things that God has made and perverts them. Mm-hmm. This is what we call sin. If you listen to the hypocrisy and the lies and the double standards of evolutionary theories and the philosophers that is founded upon, you come to the common denominator of lies, hypocrisy, things that don't fit together. All of these are showing the traits or markers of the traits that the Bible ascribes to the enemy of God, that fallen angel, Satan. Evolutionists are inherently Satanists, just like all other unbelievers. I'm done.